Let's talk about Barista FIRE. And I promise you, I am not making up these names. Coast FIRE, Fat FIRE, or Lean FIRE. There are people who are actually working to become financially independent using the Barista FIRE strategy. So yes, there's another popular FIRE movement and it's called Barista FIRE. Somebody named it barista because a lot of retirees got a part-time job as a barista to help supplement their income. And the concept of Barista FIRE lies somewhere between Lean FIRE and Fat FIRE on the financial freedom spectrum. You're essentially subtracting your FIRE number by the annual earned income from your part-time job during early retirement. Let me break it down for you. Your FIRE number is your annual expenses multiplied by 25, so our Fat FIRE number is $100,000 a year or $2.5 million. Our Lean FIRE number is around $40,000 a year or $1 million. Let's say I want to find a part-time job that pays me, let's say $20,000 a year working 2 to 3 days a week. Then my Barista FIRE number would be $100,000 minus $20,000, and that equals to $80,000 or $2 million when I multiply $80,000 by 25. So instead of $2.5 million in Fat FIRE, I could retire early with $2 million while working a part-time job. Another scenario is you're married to a working spouse because he or she still enjoys working for whatever reason, or maybe your spouse is working towards a certain goal. So your spouse could be that supplemental income by adding you to the spouse's health insurance. People on Barista FIRE in general find a part-time job that provides health insurance because buying one on your own could be extremely expensive. The 4% rule still applies to the concept of Barista FIRE, and if you have $1 million set aside, the 4% withdrawal rate means you're only withdrawing $40,000 a year from your investment account while you're making $20,000 a year from a part-time job. So that's a total of $60,000 a year in early retirement income. Now, I could argue about the retire early part of Barista FIRE because you're technically still working. I would suggest you only do something you enjoy on a part-time basis. You don't have to do a barista to achieve Barista FIRE. There are people who have their own small business to sell products on Etsy, provide professional services like financial coaching, or work as a substitute teacher at the local school. You should ask yourself what you want to do when you retire from your full-time job. Barista FIRE could allow you to retire early because your FIRE number is now significantly reduced. You might be a 25, 28, or 30-year-old working on your Fat FIRE, but that could take you a certain amount of time based on your income. And let's say it's going to take you 15 years to achieve Fat FIRE, but with Barista FIRE, because you're going to work a part-time gig, you might only need 10 or 12 years to achieve Barista FIRE with reduced FIRE number. And I will talk about the pros and cons of Barista FIRE later in this video. By the way, you can get your free FIRE resources by visiting firesidechat.com/contact. And you can also check out the Fireside Chat shop, and I have all of my stuff on my bookshelf at firesidechat.com/shopping. So let's go over the FIRE calculator, and you can download this FIRE calculator for free on firesidechat.com/contact. I'm going to use our Fat FIRE number as an example. Our Fat FIRE number is $2.5 million or $100,000 a year. Let's assume that we have nothing invested right now, and the annual average rate of return is 8%. And we are currently 35 years old and we want to achieve Fat FIRE by age 50. We'll have 15 years to invest to achieve Fat FIRE. So our annual expenses are total at $100,000 a year or $8,300 a month. And we won't have any other income sources for the moment, so we would need to invest at least $92,000 a year to achieve Fat FIRE. That's pretty tough if you make under $200,000 a year, right? So you can always play the numbers by extending your desired retirement age. And if you want to retire by 55 instead of 50, then you would only need to invest $55,000 a year to achieve Fat FIRE. Let's say for our Barista FIRE, I'm going to work a part-time job making $20,000 a year. Then I would only need to invest $73,000 a year instead of $92,000. If I increase it to $30,000 a year for my part-time job, then it's reduced to $65,000 a year that I need to contribute. So I could either reduce my contributions each year or keep the same intensity and retire earlier than 15 years. You see how the FIRE number is changed based on the earned income that I'll have. And obviously this will depend on how much money I want to earn from a part-time job. If we decide to use the concept of Barista FIRE, I would probably use my YouTube channel as my additional income source. And I don't know how much money I'll earn in the future, but let's say it's $30,000 a year. And then we'll have the ability to contribute to our HSA using a self-employed high deductible health plan or HDHP and contribute to our Roth IRAs. For HSA, if we stop contributing at age 45, we should still have about $127,000 invested. When we turn 55, we'll double the amount and have about $330,000 invested. If we're self-employed, then we could continue to build our HSA to almost $500,000 by the time we turn 55. The HSA could also reduce our taxable income, so that could allow us to save more money. You can check out the detailed video I did on the HSA, and I will link that video in the description below. Let's look at our Roth IRAs. We can only contribute to our Roth IRAs if we have earned income, not passive income. If we contribute up to the maximum limit until we turn 60, then we should have about $3.5 million with an 8% average annual rate of return. If we completely stop working and no longer contribute to the Roth IRAs at age 45, then we should have about $3 million by the time we turn 60. It looks like it's a difference of $500,000. So if we could just live on our dividend income, capital gains, and earn income from our part-time jobs, then we could still enjoy our lives while we continue to contribute to our HSA and Roth IRAs. The main obstacle we're going to face during our early retirement is the lack of an affordable healthcare plan. We could also significantly reduce our withdrawal rate from 4% to maybe 3% or 2% if we have sufficient income from our YouTube channel or the financial coaching business. By the way, if you need help with your personal finances, you can schedule a free one-on-one 20-minute financial coaching session by visiting firesidechat.com/coaching. Now let me go over the pros and cons of Barista FIRE. Pro number one is having a part-time job would allow us to contribute to our IRAs and HSA. I don't know what the contribution limits will be 10 years from now, but in the year 2022, I can contribute up to $12,000 as a couple to Roth IRAs and another $7,300 to a family plan HSA. That's a total of $19,300 a year into our Roth IRAs and HSA. It's also nice to stay active with a part-time job and gives us a purpose. However, and this is con number one, is that you're still not completely financially free because you're relying on the part-time job to help pay for your expenses, especially healthcare. If you don't have a solid investment plan, your money could dry up and then you end up going back into the workforce again. Pro number two is access to affordable healthcare. In the US, having an employer-sponsored healthcare plan is always cheaper than the healthcare plan you purchase on your own. If you have higher healthcare costs in your 40s and 50s, then having a part-time job could help pay for your copays and deductibles. And con number two is now you're relying on the part-time job to help pay for your medical and dental expenses. The whole idea of financial independence and retiring early is to completely quit the 9-to-5 workforce. You need to come up with a plan like having an HSA to pay for your future medical expenses that could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Pro number three is having a supplemental income could reduce your withdrawal rate from your investment. So instead of withdrawing 4% from your taxable brokerage account, you could maybe reduce it to 3% or 2% so you can grow your investment portfolio a lot bigger and longer. My wife and I will continue to work on our Fat FIRE journey because the whole idea of FIRE is to quit our jobs and enjoy our lives. The Barista FIRE concept will allow you to achieve financial independence while working a part-time job doing something you love. Just keep in mind that you could lose your job at any time like what we saw in 2020. And if we experience a recession this year with a high unemployment rate, you can end up losing your job and losing your health care. And that's one of the main reasons why early retirees continue to work to save more money. If you want to get to know more about FIRE, be sure to check out these two videos. So with that said, I appreciate you watching my video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Have a good one.